Hi, and welcome back to the Mind of the Writer. So I've now given you 3 videos which I created with the help of videographer Matthew Stiletti, where in a more formal way I'm trying to present some of my theories on muses and love writing and give you a little bit of strategy or potential strategy for writing a good love scene with the backstory or the underpinning of interconnectedness is the philosophy behind all of that. But I also think that this is a very tender topic and very vulnerable as well. And I think that it's important that that I show my face as I talk my way through some of these things, and it's a little bit more personable if I begin to walk you through my developing thoughts as I start to build on some of the things that I showed you in those more let's say more professional, or those more formal videos that I did with Matthew. So today I want to talk about a topic, something that's on my mind with regards to the philosophy of love writing. And then I want to continue over the next 3 or 4 weeks with mini videos. I say they're mini, but I'm a talker. It might be a little bit longer than mini, with some of the other thoughts that I have in my mind while I'm thinking about this love writing. And I think that my way of coming to conclusions often is talking them through. And so I'm talking them through with you on the next month's videos. So today I wanted to talk about this whole idea of art imitating life. And I think that that is a really good philosophy or mantra, if you want to call it that, when it comes to love writing. Because I think that if you are wanting to create a good love scene on the page, then it would make sense that you want to write what would also be good off page as well. And I want to stipulate that I am talking about a sexual love scene here, not necessarily a sex scene, which is can be something entirely different. And in my own writing, I have definitely written sex scenes without love. I've written extremely graphic scenes. I've written romantic scenes. But in this video, I'm really talking about the more, loving, romantic, I don't know what to say, but the more loving, sexual scenes. So if you think about what would be good on the page and you want the art to mimic life, well, I think you need to sort of ask yourself the question as a person. Do you want build-up? Do you want romance? Do you want excitement? Do you want context? Do you want a sort of intricate, complex, layered relationship around that experience? And then if the answer to those questions in your off-page life is yes, well, then you want to build the same thing on the page. So you want to build up to that scene, unless, it's a sort of unless you're trying to get at something different, which you could well be, and I've done in my writing as well. But for the most part, if you're doing that sort of love scene, even if the love that's happening is taboo or it's forbidden, perhaps in a story, you definitely want the build up so that you can feel the moment when it comes. And then again, in terms of the ambiance, in terms of the setting, well, what would you want off page? Do you want is the setting important to you? Is the lighting important to you? Is there a danger aspect that's important to you? And then again, if you can translate that onto the page, chances are what's good off page is going to be good on page. What you have your characters wear, or what you have them don't wear, or in terms of what they say to one another, how the language that they use with each other, what you would want or what you would find exciting off page, well then chances are that you would put that on page as well. Now, this doesn't mean that off page you are doing all of these things. This could in a way be wishful thinking. It could be fantastical thinking. It could be your ideal. It could be what you want and you wouldn't be able to do. But it still is what would be exciting, romantic, uh, provocative off page, and then shifting it on page. So I wanted to say, to finish up with today's message or today's idea, that if you can use that mantra, art imitating life, and apply it to a love scene, chances are what would be good, exciting, romantic, provocative off page would be all of those things on page as well. So some of the other things I want to talk about in subsequent weeks are, and this is in no order because I don't know which order I'm going to share them yet. I wanted to look at the ingredients of a good love scene or of a good love story. And it sounds a little bit cliche, but I wanted to look at writing a love scene in a way as cooking and what ingredients you're going to use to make, a good, I'd say a good dish or a good meal. But use the same idea in terms of ingredients. What ingredients does it take to make a good love scene? The other thing that I wanted to talk about is for the writer themselves, being able to contextualize this work in the context of work, in the context of a job, because I think that if you write that way, and I do write that way, for me, it's been a very long journey to be able to feel free enough within the scaffolding. I have a fairly traditional scaffolding in my life to be able to write like this and to be able to share it. And so in the video where I talked about contextualizing the love scene in the story in a variety of contexts to give it that complexity, to give it that weight, to give it that, gravitas, I think that as a writer, we also have to be able to contextualize our art and our jobs within the framework of our lives, to be able to do that kind of explicit writing freely, because there is no way that you can write a good explicit love sex scene if you have the scaffolding of your life sort of interfering, and you are, you're thinking of what everybody's going to think. Then you just simply won't be free enough to write that way. So I definitely wanted to talk about contextualizing that sort of writing within the framework of work and a job. And then I wanted to, in another video, share just some general strategies and hurdles that I have overcome in order to write this way. The scene that I shared on the YouTube video in the cathedral was extremely tame. And I don't think I will be putting, extremely explicit stuff on YouTube. You'd have to read The Girl on Harlow Street if you wanted that. But I also can still talk about that process and the journey I had to go through in order to be able to write like that. And I'm sure there's lots of other ideas and themes that'll come up over the next few weeks while I'm, developing the next set of theories in order to get Matthew to do some videos. But for now, I just wanted you to think about art imitating life, and that being a really good setup for when it comes to writing an effective love scene. So we'll see you next week on The Mind of the Writer.